Huzzah! Huzzah! It's vlog day 542. Back 205.8 pounds, which means I've pretty much lost about 3 pounds this week. Which isn't bad, headed in the right direction. I was kind of hoping it'd be a little bit more dramatic up front, just because, you know, you're getting started, but I guess in a way, it's not quite as dramatic as when I lost weight the first time. We'll talk about that, like my whole weight loss journey, as it were, another time. But today, we're talking about Agnar's backs. But today's Tuesday, which means it's Wednesday for you, which means it's Writerly Wednesday. And today, we're gonna be talking about that bottle up there and Agnar's box and what the goals are around that. Ow, ow, belt buckle to the knuckle, ow. Like I said, today is Writerly Wednesday, which means that we're gonna be talking about writing. And since we're trying to cover everything that we've got up here in greater detail, I thought that today would be a good day to talk a little bit more about selling Agnar's box and what all of that entails. For those of you who don't know, I write science fiction and fantasy. I've been accused recently of not making that apparent enough, which is interesting because I keep talking about it like almost every day. I am a science fiction and fantasy writer. I do want to continue to grow in that, and it is one of the huge parts of my life and one of the big goals within it. Part of the reason I want YouTube to be successful, a large part of the reason in fact that I want YouTube to be successful, is to carve out more time from my life for writing, to give myself a little bit more space and a little bit more energy to spend every morning writing. That's why I'm working on getting up earlier every day, so I've got a little bit more time in the morning to write, explore some in the afternoon, and then get my editing done at night. But I've never sold a book traditionally. I have a handful of books that have been self-published. I've shown a bunch of those to you guys here before. Here's a smattering of those. 2 of those don't count. Here you have Into the Nansen, Shadows of the High Ridge, and Dark Horse. All books that I wrote and funded and did everything that I could by myself, with a little bit of crowdfunding for the second season of Into the Nansen. That's what all the artwork on the walls comes from. So now that we're all on the same page, I've been self-publishing for the better part of 7 years, I think, something like that. And I had the goal of publishing 1 book a year for a decade with self-publishing. But there comes a point where strategically it makes a lot more sense to go hybrid than to stay self-published. And we'll talk about that as we go, but I need to get moving because I want to get writing. Sockmania over here. Okay, gotta figure out where I'm going. Alright, so I'm headed to Fontaine de Belleville, which I've been to once before with Rachel. Briefly, I didn't get in coffee though. She was they're one of the more famous roasters in the city, Belleville. And so I don't know, just looking forward to sitting and hanging out for a bit. Agnar's box. So being a hybrid author, if it's an unfamiliar term for you, it doesn't mean that I'm going to be installing a battery pack anytime soon to give me more energy. It's a combination of 2 career paths, one being an independent author, the other being a traditionally published author. Those paths used to be fairly mutually exclusive. Not entirely, but if you kind of had to choose one or the other. I don't really know how things are going to pan out because nobody really knows how things are going to pan out with the publishing industry yet. It's starting to settle down a little bit, but it's still a little bit of a mystery. And there are still huge benefits to self-publishing, but at the same time, there are also some pretty big benefits to traditional publishing. And at the end of the day, writing, publishing, selling books is super freaking difficult anyways. I would argue that it's one of, if not the most difficult. No, it's just one of the most difficult creative professions by far, at least that you're aware of. There are, of course, a whole bunch of other creative professions that are probably significantly more difficult. Like, I don't think there are as many people making a full-time living tightrope walking while juggling over tiger pits as there are writers in the world, but you get the idea. So since writing is so difficult and a publishing career is very, very hard to eke out, there's not a lot of money in it, even though people think, oh, you get rich. Not everybody's J.K. Rowling. In fact, J.K. Rowling is like the lottery winner among authors. How do you make a valid living at it? And that's when you start talking about strategies between self-publishing and traditional publishing. Here we are at La Fontaine with the water fountain right here. It's not running at the moment, but these fountains during warmer months usually have water trickling down between these four ladies holding the stone. It's fresh drinking water, so if you're ever thirsty wandering around Paris, free place to get a drink. Looks like we're finally full. That was tasty. It's a nice environment in there too. I love how it feels like a classic old French cafe, even though it's run by, you know, like one of the more prestigious and modern hipster roasting companies in the city. It's a nice little spot. It's the first time I've ever gotten to sit in there though. I don't think they have any Wi-Fi in case you're looking to work there, but they don't frown upon the use of laptops. And so that works. I was able to get some writing done. It's like turning into kind of a massive rewrite of roughly the third to second half of the book. Just going through salvaging a few pieces that I want to keep, but mostly hacking stuff out. I don't know, it's going great. I know exactly what I need to do. Now it's just a matter of sitting down and doing it. So since I need to get some lunch, and because the disposable camera is full, I'm gonna go ahead and go back to the Marais. I'm gonna go to Lomography, turn in the disposable camera, and that means we're on our way to creating a bunch of postcards for patrons, which if you would like to get a postcard made from one of those photos that I've taken on this disposable camera, you can do so by becoming a patron at the $3 level or up. And if you're already a patron, you don't have to do anything. Just make sure that your address is listed in Patreon. Like, go to your account and update that if it's not there. Once we get the photos back, I'll send them off to be turned into postcards, and then once we get the postcards back, I will buy a crap ton of stamps and send you guys some postcards. That'd be the plan. So it still has to happen with Agnar's box. Obviously, I have to finish writing it to start, which is what I'm working on right now. It's kind of a killer rewrite because for a number of reasons. It fell between a couple of genres in a way that wasn't helpful. Had a really boring middle section, and then all the good stuff just got kind of crammed in at the end. A couple things without the proper explanation, and something that just wasn't satisfying as far as endings went. So I'm trying to basically dump a bunch of stuff out of the second act and lengthen the third act to make it more fun. Once that's done, I'll give it to a friend or two just to make sure that the improvements made are genuinely improvements. And if it feels like a good and solid book, then I'll hand it off to a publisher, and hopefully they'll like it enough to buy it. I'll also start using it to try and query some agent, because I need an agent. And I've got a few in mind. We'll see if I can get one that I, really want. Baby, don't you. Alrighty, 12 years later. Said it could take up to 15 days, but I'm not sure if I think it only took like 10 days last time, so we'll see. It means you've got 10 days to 15 days to get on board, because basically once I get the digital versions back, that's when I make the postcard, and then once I've ordered the postcards, that sets the limit for how many people actually get one. So if you want one, make sure to jump on it. So back to Agnar's box and Writerly Wednesday. The nice thing is I feel really close, and I'm feeling more and more confident with the book. The hard thing is once you've sat with a book for a really long time, at least in my limited experience, you get kind of your confidence wavers here and there. The closer to finished you are, actually, the less confident you get with it, because you've been staring at it for so freaking long that you're just kind of ready to be done with it. I'm feeling way better about it now that I've come back to it. I think we're making really good progress, and so this is where the debate comes in. And I've asked actually a handful of agents at this point what their opinions are on this, and I've gotten a mixture of responses back. But here's kind of the conundrum that I'm facing. It's kind of a chicken and egg situation. If I can sell the book or get an offer on the book on my own, should I just take that offer and run with it? Or should I get an agent? I think I should get an agent. For the longevity of my career, that's best. However, some agents would really love to have the book first because they might feel like they have a better home for the book than what you can get on your own. I think the book that I'm writing right now, Agnar's box, I have the perfect home for it. It's just a matter of whether or not they want it. But if I can get them to make an offer on it before I get an agent, then hopefully that sweetens the deal. Basically walk up to an agent and say, hey, I've already got one deal. You want to work with me to get more? That'd be great. Bonjour. Nothing but vegetables. And I'm only gonna eat half the pita. I don't know why I'm telling you guys all this stuff. Anyways, some agents, I feel like from my position, it makes more sense to be able to say, hey, look, you guys, I wrote a book that's good enough that a house wants to pick it up already. Would you like to negotiate this deal, or do you think you can find me a better deal rather than just a straight query? Of course, querying is not necessarily easy no matter what you do, and it's gonna be hard to find an agent no matter what I do, more likely, but anything I can offer to sweeten the deal, I feel like makes a difference, so might as well, right? As much of the hard work as I can do on the front end, the better. And I don't have a problem bringing an agent in on a deal that's already made, effectively handing them free money up front, because they're gonna be working for me and helping me make more money down the line. So if it helps to build relationships both with the publisher and with the agent, develop something long-term that way, it seems like a win-win for me. The downside, of course, is if they're turned off by it because they think I'm gonna be trying to do their job for them. But so far, nobody that I've talked to seems to think that, except for people who aren't agents. Only people who aren't agents think it's a bad idea. Agents seem to think, yeah, as long as you know where you want it to be and it's a good home for the book, that doesn't seem like should be a problem whatsoever. So I guess it all kind of depends. It all also depends on how well I think I can negotiate the contract myself, which I think I could do okay. I think I know enough to do a decent job of it, but never a bad idea to have an agent on board. And again, the agent's more for the long-term career-focused goals that I get out of it. I'm not thinking I'm gonna make hardly any money off of a book deal. I'm thinking of this more in terms of building legitimacy for myself within my writing career, finding an agent, and building a relationship with one publisher among hopefully a handful that I get to work with over the course of a career. So we'll see what happens. Jumped inside really quick to say hi, and now I'm gonna go to a place called Beans on Fire that I've never been to before to meet Sonia. I'm getting there ahead of her, which will be good because I have some more work to get done, so hopefully they have Wi-Fi, because if they don't have Wi-Fi, that could be a problem. We'll go get some work done, hop on the bus here, and then go get some work done. And then, oh, there's the bus I want right there, the evil 96. Either that or the 69 will work. Ah. Cyclist definitely helped me out a little bit there. This bus is my arch nemesis, but I need it. Sonia swears by this brownie, so we're gonna see how it turns out. Since brownies definitely didn't win the food poll earlier. Good. It's kind of got more of a fudgy texture though. It's good. You look displeased with my assessment.
It's the best brownie in the world. What do you mean? I mean, that's it.
Coffee was delicious. She only got here to hang out for like 20 minutes inside, so we'll go for a stroll or something and try to stay warm. But it was really tasty. These guys do a lot of roasting for people around town apparently as well. And if you wanted to come and sit outside, they don't have heating lamps, but they do have blankets, so that's interesting. Anyways, time to wander off. They do have Wi-Fi, seem to be work friendly, so if you want to work here, not a bad spot to do it.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I liked it. Did Serbia not answer?
I have to turn off my airplane mode.
Oh, that would help. Yeah, that would help a lot. Okay, we're gonna go try the classic French brasserie here. For those of you who are wondering why, food poll last week, I think, basically the request was that I try French beer in a French bistro. So we're gonna give this a try. Through the front door, or what's that?
Looks pretty bad.
That's the goal. This is a classic like French. Whoa! Excuse me, Mom. Then I would cry, oh, baby. Unicorn is not what I was expecting to find here, but this is an Alsatian beer. I took the Superior, so it's a little bit stronger, better flavor, I guess. It's beer.
It's a moment to relax, my tea says.
Your tea says it's a moment to relax.
Sure.
This place reminds me of the kinds of diners that I would go to with my grandpa. Not just because of the surrounding audience, but because the smell actually of the place smells like it's got this deep, like, you know, people used to smoke in here for like decades. People smoked in here. They're not allowed to anymore, but you can still smell it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
No idea. Anyways, the guys in there were really nice.
Great story.
It was an amazing story. My favorite story of the evening, actually. The guys in there were really, really nice. There was a bunch of old dudes just sitting around smoking and drinking.
Like the nicest people in
They were
all of Paris.
Yeah, they were
I loved it.
super nice. The beer was not great, but they were nice. So yeah. Anyways, there you go. There's your French beer in French brasserie, and they were really nice. So if you want to go sit and talk to some old French dudes, probably the best way to do it. If you want a good beer, I mean, it all depends on what your definition of a good beer is. That could be a great place. I feel so bad for ripping on French beer so much right now. It's fine. We're celebrating the near release of her book. She's a huge fan of tea, so I grabbed her one of these guys, a little tea container. Caught her eye. She was standing in the window being like, "Oh my God, that's so cool!" And I was like, "I'm gonna get you one to celebrate the release of your book." That way, every time she looks at it, she thinks, "Oh, cool, my book is a real thing." I don't know, just makes it more concrete that way. So, congratulations, Sonia, and happy book day, happy book near launch. There you go. Great to hang out with her for a little bit, go for a walk and chat. I need to go home, and my battery's about to die. So I was planning on going for a run, and then I'll probably just buckle down and edit. I'm guessing it's getting kind of late, so that'll be the plan of action. We'll see if that changes. I don't know. We'll find out. Anyways, great evening, Sonia. Again, congratulations. I'm so proud of her. I can't wait. She's got some really cool stuff coming. Told me about a new book today, a new book idea that I'm excited to hear more about. So yeah, it was a good time. And I think I wrapped everything up with Agnar's box, but I'll think about it when I have more battery life. We might come back to that here shortly. All right, we still don't have a lamp solution, so I'm coming back over to the light. I'm gonna go for a run. The plan is to go for a short run tonight. It's like 3 miles. We'll see what actually happens. I have a really bad tendency of not following through on the whole shortening my runs thing, but we're gonna try. Also, got some mail for the longer runs. I'll show you tomorrow what we got in the mail because it's too dark and there's just enough going on tonight as it is. We'll open the mail tomorrow. Run now. At something like a 9:45 pace, so really slow and not very far, but effectively what I was going for. Burn some calories. Had a really scary moment there where actually I made it all the way to the bottom of the hill over here and realized I didn't have a tripod anymore. Not quite to the bottom, but close. Had to run pretty much all the way back to the top to find my tripod on the ground. Thankfully I found it. That's not the way that you want to use them till they die. You don't want to lose them.
And this is what I say, then I would